Welcome everyone to another special edition this Tuesday on Timer Tip Tuesday. We have a special edition that we're doing today in a partnership with our MYLAPS timing company out of the Netherlands. We'll be doing a dual presentation today. MYLAPS will be presenting the first part of our special edition, and then I'll be doing the second part. And again, it's a really great thing that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be rolling out MYLAPS Cloud Timing integrated with RaceDay scoring, and we're going to go through this from soup to bolt, show everything. MYLAPS is going to spend some time talking and looking through their dashboard and reviewing that and how all that works on the cloud side, and then also talking about their plans and their roadmap and all. And then on our side, we're going to be looking at the actual integration, how the integration works with the cloud, and both of these will be a little bit of a live demo showing the software, kind of review the information, and then actually show it in action so you can kind of see how it all works together. So again, really happy to have everybody here. As always on Timer Tip Tuesday, we have Matt Avery on the back end answering questions and helping you guys there. All this will be in a recording and provided again in our channel so that you can review the information later. And then also today we'll be talking about kind of the onboarding process and how you get into this cloud and get going with this. December is a great month to start playing around with this stuff. December, January, we feel that is a really good opportunity for timers to really embrace this new technology, play around with it with some of your smaller events, and also just parallel scoring with some events. So really excited about this rollout this December, and we'll be going through that now. So to introduce everyone here today, I'm James Harris. As you know, you've been seeing me on Timer Tip Tuesday. I work in development and work on all these tools that we provide for the timer community, and really have a great team working on all that. And I'll be presenting the scoring part. Tim Hordak is here. We're really pleased to have him with us. He is the product manager and also what they call project manager in Netherlands for all the MYLAPS kind of cloud and all the things that are going on cloud. And he'll be talking a lot today about his plans and what he's doing with his team to build out the next generation of MYLAPS software for the timer community. So yeah, I'm gonna move on. So at this point, we're gonna hand off the presentation to Tim, and he's going to introduce himself a little bit more and kind of get going with this part, and I'll be doing that now.
Yeah, happy to be here. As James already told you, I'm Tim Hordijk, a project manager at MYLAPS. I work here now for almost 3 years, and started here as the project manager for the data distribution team, involved in all kind of projects, and one of the nicest and the one that I'm most enthusiastic about is the cloud timing project, and that's why I'm here today to tell you a little bit more about that. And to start with, it's good to tell you a little bit about why do we want cloud timing? Why did we started it? And you can see multiple benefits of cloud timing. Some more technical, some more functional, some more user experience, but you can pinpoint it down to this list basically. And most of all, we wanted to make things easier for our timer, for timing events. We wanted to make it mostly easier to remote time events. And we want to be able to set up and run multiple instances of our timing software, which wasn't that good in timing and scoring that we are currently using. We wanted to give our timers complete insight in the data of their events. Next to that, we want to be better able to support our timers afterwards, but also live during events if needed. Next to that, we wanted to improve our data reliability. At the moment, we are quite dependent on the laptop that's on the event itself. We wanted to change that. Now the data is stored in the cloud and it's only read once from a decoder. And when it's stored in the cloud, the data is actually available after storing, and not only available for one person, but to whoever has the rights to see the data in the cloud. And of course, as MYLAPS, innovation is in our DNA, and we wanted to be top of class in terms of our software technology and be future-proof. We wanted to be able to react on new things that will come up in the future, And yeah, I think we foresee a lot of growth and possible opportunities in this area. So yeah, that's why we thought cloud timing was a good idea. And I want to elaborate a little bit more on what do we have in place right now. This project has been running for quite a while, and we did a lot of development, we did a lot of testing, analyzing data of those tests during real events, continued the developments, did more, and it ended up in 2024. In early 2024, we launched a minimum viable product of cloud timing, where we launched a product with some timers and some scoring integration partners. One of them is RaceDay scoring. And this MVP is a version of cloud timing with just enough features so our timers can actually time an event, but also we are aware that there are still areas that need improvements and features needed to be added. And yeah, why did we do an MVP? For me, the advantage of working with an MVP is that we are able to include a subset of our timers in an early stage of the product, so that they can help us with their insights and be a part of our development process. So yeah, I think that's really nice. That's also about the engagements of our timer community. So what did we deliver? We have an online front end, a dashboard, and here you can set up your events. You can make timelines. You can connect your devices to a timeline. You can manage your devices in that front end. So you can see the settings on your device. You can change those settings, and we offer some live insight in the device data, like passings, like markers, like errors on the device. For the distribution of data, we offer a WebSocket. And a WebSocket is a protocol that can be used for real-time communication. Here you can subscribe to live data. You can do that on event level, on timeline level, or on device level. And once you're connected, there's no need to do further calls like you need to do, for example, with an HTTP. And the connection just stays open until you unsubscribe or it gets disconnected from one side. Next to that, we have a REST API. This is more used to demand historic data by HTTP requests, but it's also good to know that you can demand for data on WebSockets by a replay. What we're now doing is run this in parallel with timing and scoring. So what that means is that you can set up your event in timing and scoring. You can set up your event in cloud timing, and you can run both things at the same time. That makes it a lot easier for testing during actual events, since the cloud timing test does not interfere with the events of our timers. And so in this way, they can get used to this new way of working, and we can get results of those tests. Devices that we currently support are the BibTech, so the old BibTech one, the big one, the BibTech Smart Decoder, and the Project Smart Decoder. Now here's a group of timing companies and scoring integration partners where we're working with at the moment. You can already see RaceDay scoring, where we're here today. And we started with some timing companies, RaceDay Events, Wolf Creek, and Competitive Timing. They really did a lot of testing already. We're also doing tests with FR Systems, which is based in the UK. Markate Timing from the South Americas, and MTech. MTech was the first. We actually did the first real event with not our own test events with them, which was a cross-county event early in the year. So yeah, testing is taking place at the moment. We have now did 61 events, has been timed with cloud timing in production. So yeah, it's really going on. And there's also here another group of all kind of timing companies and scoring integration partners that we're also working with in this early stage. Some based in Europe, RTRT. I think most of you will have heard of them. Some from the Netherlands, some from Australia, and also an Icelandic partner. Yeah, all of them we shared the documentation with. We made accounts, and yeah, they're finalizing their integration on their end to start testing in the coming year. So the group is steadily growing for us, just as the product is. So what do we get back from them, from our testers? Yeah, overall, I can say people are very positive. So I'm always happy to get that feedback. to see that we are working in the right direction so far. It really helps us in making decision making and continue the development process. But of course, we also get some points of attention back. At the moment, most feedback is more related to improvements on the dashboard itself. So it's more about UI, UX questions. It's about responsiveness of pages, some extra information that they're missing or features that they wanted to add. And if I look more at the WebSocket / REST API integration, that seemed to work flawlessly up until now. So that's from a technical point really nice to see. But yeah, still we need more testing to confirm this, and also need testing in real bigger events, because at the moment I would say mid-sized events are tested, or small events. So yeah, then demo time. I will show you around in the dashboard. Yeah, here we have the dashboard. Start with login. Everyone gets a personal account in Cloud Timing, and this is basically our general portal account. And all accounts are linked to one organization, which means that if you have, for example, 4 accounts linked to one organization, it means that all 4 accounts, if they log in into the dashboard, they all see the same things. So you can see each other's event, you can see each other's data, and you can just overview everything from each other. Now, when I log in, we will start at the event overview page. Here you see all events. We divide this in active events, in future events, and in past events. Active events that are happening right now. Future events that are events that you already set up for the future. And past events are just all events that have been taken place. And if you just open one, you see all the data that has been stored there. So yeah, what I want to do here now is create an event. So show you around how that works. Here at the top, we have a create event button. If you click on that, you can give the event a name. You can select the time zone. This time zone will now be fetched from your computer. So I'm in Amsterdam or around Amsterdam. So that will be pre-filled, but you can just change that into whatever time zone you want. You can put in here a date, which with a date we have a date picker that you can choose, but we also have some quick things on your laptop that you can do. For example, if I do -1 day, -1D, we switch to yesterday. If I do +1D, I will go to tomorrow. And so with this quick response things, you can pre-fill data quite easily with not touching in that moment anything of your mouse. That's quite nice. And do here to the second thing, you can add timelines. So here I want to add 3. I'll make a start. Connect the device right away. I'll make a 5K. Again, connect the device. And I'll make a finish. And connect the device again. And I just create the event. And with creating the event, I will enter the event page. Here you see the event page. You will enter this event. Here you see the information from the event that I just entered. You can always easily edit this here and just change this data. And we always open with the timeline overview. And here you can basically have an overview of your timeline with all kind of information. So you see the timelines I just made, the devices that are connected to that timeline. And also here I can also add timelines or delete timelines if needed. So this is more about the setup of your event. So for example, if I wanted to add a timeline, I forgot the 10K, for example. I'll just add that. I'll connect the device again. For example, this one. And now I added the next one. For now, the order is not that logical. That doesn't make sense because the finish should be at the end. And here you can easily drag and drop timelines. So if I put this on up, The order is logical again, and the device comes with the timeline, with the dragging. Next to that, I can also drag and drop devices. So if I want this device to the finish, I'm going to simply add it and let it go here. I will do that for now. And also good to mention is that we have active periods right now, and with active periods we want to give the timers some more control over the data, because now at the start the active period goes from the start of the event to the end of the event, but you can easily change that. For example, if you want to start with an elite group, for example, I can give you the times and the dates, and all passings that have been detected by a device that fall within this active period will be sent automatically over the WebSocket, and every passing that doesn't fall within that time frame will not, and will be marked as an inactive passing. So that's good to mention here. And with this you can make multiple periods, and you can really differentiate your data and make sure that some data will get over the WebSocket and some will not. So it gives a little bit more control. That's it about setting up the event. I also set up an event with some actual data that I want to show you. I have here the event, the webinar event, and here you see the event overview, the timeline overview with the timelines. Here I have a start, 20K, a 40K, and a finish. But here I also have some data that I generated. So for example, here at the finish, I see a smart, the name of the device, which is smart_04E, which is the name of the device. And other information that you can see is the connection status of the device. So this one is connected. For example, this one is not. Here's the battery status of the battery at the moment, the time source that's being used at the moment by the device, the number of passings, and the total number of passings. And the first number of passings are the total active passings, and you can also see the total passings. So that means that that's linked to the active periods I just explained. You see the timestamp of the last passing when this has been taken place, and you see the number of passings in the last minute. Yeah, and if a device has some errors, we also show an error icon. We also show it at the top here, at the right top. So we have two errors on this device, but we also have in general over the whole event also 2 errors at the moment. Yeah, you can simply click on them. We will enter the error page where we show all the errors, so you have insight in that. Next to that, you can also click on the device, and then you enter the device specific information. So here we have a tab with passings for this device. We are at the moment 52. You can just see them. You can perform actions on this device. So you can create a gunshot, create a marker, or create a file marker. So for example, if I just push on the button, create a gunshot, you get some feedback that the action is performed, so that we actually made a gun on the device itself. We go to the setting tab, you see the current status of all settings. So you have just insight in all the settings on the device. Also here you can change this. For example, if I want to change the color scheme on my device to light theme, I just save it, and you just get the confirmation that the change applied. So you can do multiple changes on the device in one go after the saving button. Next to that, you see the overview of all the markers. You see here just the marker I just made, the gunshot. And we see here the errors which aren't there at the moment for this device, but the other ones have one. Next to that, we also have some actions over here. Here you can create a new active period. I just mentioned you can go to the passings, all the passings on this timeline in one go. So here we have the passings on the device, but if you have multiple devices on one timeline, you can also go to all the passings of one timeline. We can edit the timeline, so you can just here change the name or connect another device, or you can simply delete or remove the timeline. Then we have some more tabs over here. We have a pausing tab, and these are all the pausings that are linked to the event. So all pausings from all timelines from all devices within this event. And this is now an historical view, but I can also switch to show live pausings. And from that moment on, also live pausings will come in. So I have PSD over here. If I make a pausing, I expect them to update. A moment. Looks like something broke. Let me refresh. Ah, yeah, the ball is broken. I will have a look at that. You see the passings coming in right here. Same account for markers, which is just an overview of all the markers within the event and all the errors within the event. And we also show the history of the errors here. Yeah, so that's basically the overview and all the information that you get here on the dashboard. Next to that, we have a device management tab. Here you see all your devices linked to your account. I'm an administrator right now, so I see basically all devices that are there in the field. But normally you will see just the devices of your organization. You can simply click on the device and you see all the data here. Again, as you also saw before, but now it's just not only the data from that event, but just all data that's actually there still on the device. And the last thing I want to show here is the API management, and this is the API key, and this key is needed to be able to get the data from our distribution channels, like the APIs and the WebSockets. So yeah, that's basically it. What I wanted to show about the dashboard that we have at the moment. And now I'll switch back to the PowerPoint. So next steps. Yeah, we have quite a bit, but still have some plans for still this year and also for next year and beyond. So what we're doing at the moment is fix all current findings that are mentioned by our group of testers that are using cloud timing at the moment. We are improving the UI and the UX and the backend where needed. We're also working on an offline application. This offline application is more to solve basically two things. That's one is to make sure you can use it as a backup next to cloud timing to secure your passings at the finish line, for example, where we heard and know that sometimes connections are not that stable sometimes. And what you really want to make sure is that you have your passings at the finish, so you can do your stuff and get results. So it's more of a backup on the finish line. And also we want to make sure that we can do simple, small remote events that are really in a remote area without any internet connection. So that's just an application that we're working on, and that will be a local application, but we will reuse as much as possible components for that we have in cloud timing. Next to that, we want to work on some multi-device management. And here I want to offer an overview of all the devices within an event, or even link to your organization, where you can see all the settings at once from that devices and also do changes on one or multiple devices at the same time. We are working on a more sophisticated roles and rights implementation. At the moment, all the cloud timing accounts are linked to the portal account that most of our customers already have, but they're not able to do any changes on that account or make sure that you can add more accounts for your organization. That's all things that we need to do at the moment. But I think it's good that we give our customers the opportunity to do that by themselves. We want to work on bit filtering. That's something that we had in timing and scoring, but don't have right now in timing. Next to that, we want to work out on loaning devices. We know some timers give their device to another timer, for example, for the weekend. And at the moment in cloud timing, all data is linked also to the organization that the device is linked to. And now we want to make sure that you can just simply give a device to someone else, so that you can use it in an event, can add it to an event, and that you also can see the data at that moment, but also afterwards. And we're working on a scoring module. We currently have one in timing and scoring, and we also want to make one for the cloud. So yeah, what we're doing, we will increase the scope continuously. We're just adding stuff all the time. We're still onboarding timers all the time, and we're still looking for more timers to participate in this testing phase. And also, yeah, let us know if you want to participate. As I already mentioned, for now, users are still testing in parallel with timing and scoring. So that's good to know. And yeah, we're aiming for a beta release in somewhere in 2025, mid 2025. With this beta, I think we can say you can use cloud timing as a standalone solution within the defined scope. But yeah, that's good to know. But also good to know is that we will still add features after that. So this is a product that will never end, and we really see this is the future for MYLAPS for our timing software. So yeah, basically we need you. And then I hand it over back to James.
Thank you, Tim. Great job. Yeah, this is really good information, and he's kind of really walked through a lot of the bells and whistles in terms of cloud. And I'm going to be taking over now and kind of showing the RaceDay side, and also just talking about some of the different integration topics. You know, he kind of introduced the fact that you can have multiple pieces of equipment tied to a timeline, and timelines for those coming from timing and scoring are what you used to call locations. So we really want to make sure we get across today the whole mapping of timelines to equipment, back to streams, back to timing locations, and I'll be presenting that today. So let me take over here. Okay. Sharing what they see. Looks good. Okay. Get back to my presentation. So yeah, I'm going to first just go over some slides, some information, just some background, and then we're going to jump into RaceDay scoring and kind of really show the integration off. So as Tim described, you know, we've been under a beta. Actually, we started with 4 timing partners back in June, but we've been testing with them since December 2023, going into January 2024. Been working with them on this for a year now, coming up on. And definitely been very integrated with their development efforts, and Tim's been a great partner in this. So we conducted a beta program with 4 timer partners that use RaceDay scoring heavily, and this occurred over the last 6 months. They used both Pro Chip and Big Tag type of equipment. And the other thing we did during this period is we asked MYLAPS to set up a real high load test for us for live passing. So they went in their test environment and set up a load test for us, basically with 75,000 passings, and they passed that data through us and live streaming. I think we were something like 1,000 passings every number of seconds. It was definitely like a high load kind of scenario for a start line, and because we really wanted to test this WebSocket interface, make sure that we could handle the data for a big start. And also, we wanted to examine our replay. As he talked about, there's 2 channels that we'll be talking about here today and demonstrating. One is what they call the live channel, which is live streaming of gunshots and passings. And then what we have is what we call a replay channel. We'll be demonstrating that. So you have the capability to rewind or replay as you did in timing and scoring and have that information sent down into scoring. So it's been a great program. As Tim said, I think the feedback from our timers is pretty positive. Again, a lot of work going on the cloud dashboard. As far as the guts of the streaming, I think we've been pretty solid. So again, he talked about the fact that you're going to get an API key. Or let me get to this first. So again, I think for a lot of our timers, we've been talking about that in our education forums and different things that we've done in training, that we really see that centralized or remote timing is becoming more and more possible for timers. It's definitely becoming very real for organizations where they can have a junior person go out, put equipment out, and then have your more senior timers timing races remotely. And you know, we really feel like MYLAPS has really stepped forward here. to make that evolution possible for our MYLAPS timers. And again, we've been in a key partnership with MYLAPS for several years now to provide a very robust scoring solution for all use cases that can handle everything from the tier 2 cross-country event that you have all the way to, you know, complicated lap races, to very complicated aggregate, or what we call aggregate scoring type of events, and, you know, just all the different things that you have to deal with as a timer. And, you know, we continue to invest heavily in making that happen for you and providing you a very robust scoring solution that you can, you know, time for all your events. And so this is a very important partnership for us with MYLAPS. And, you know, they really, as far as the Americas go, work with us to make sure that our partners can score and work with their equipment and their cloud. So the first step to onboard is you've got to get this API key and you get into the cloud. And so we're going to be talking at the end about how you get onboarded into the MYLAPS cloud. And it's a pretty simple process. Everything in terms of your equipment and the firmware and all that has kind of been squared away by MYLAPS. So it's able to provide firmware on your devices that can work with both timing and scoring in the cloud. And so it's just a matter of kind of going through and making sure you have the latest firmware, and then maybe make a maintenance code thing, and then just getting an account. And it's pretty straightforward. They have a process to get you onboarded. Once you get onboarded, you're going to get this thing that's called an API key. And this API key is the central way that we're going to integrate and be able to call, as Tim said, those REST APIs to get things like events and timelines and all that stuff. So we have these APIs that we have to call to go get information. And then the other thing we do is these WebSocket interfaces, which is for this live streaming and the replay streaming and the actual live streaming of your passing of markers. And so it all happens with this API key. We've provided a global setting, so you don't have to keep entering this. So once you get your API key, you'll just come into RaceDay scoring. You'll go to your global settings. You'll paste that key in as I'm showing you here. And then at that point, as you start creating your streams and everything will just be real easy for you. You'll be able to see your events. You'll be able to see your timelines and just start providing that mapping into your actual event in RaceDay scoring. So we have introduced a new stream type. For those that have been playing around in RaceDay scoring over the last 6 months, you've probably seen this. It's called MYLAPS Cloud Timing. And when you create a stream of this type, the API key will come in from your global setting, and then we'll have a default view that basically shows all the active and future events that you have set up at MYLAPS. We made a change this week. It's coming out this week. We're going to basically go after everything active future, because for you as a timer, you're most often setting up that week for your weekend's events. And so we thought the default would be more about both what's active and also what's coming up in the future. And so that'll be our default kind of search. And then you're just basically mapping. This is where the mapping all comes down to. You have equipment out there. There's equipment pieces, and you can have many of them, are going to map to a thing called a timeline. And that's in the MYLAPS side. And then on our side, you're going to take that timeline and you're going to map it to a stream. Okay. And then remember, in RaceDay scoring, we've always built for all the different possible use cases. You can take a stream, which is again mapped to this timeline, which has multiple pieces of equipment, and you can map that to different timing locations. And so you have a one-to-many relationship of pieces of equipment to a timeline, and then over on RaceDay scoring, you have again a one-to-many relationship of a given timing location can contain, you know, multiple streams. And so maximum flexibility in terms of what you need to do and the different use cases that you're going to run into. Again, the simple case of one piece of equipment, one timeline, one stream, one location, that's you know, kind of where you start. But then just realize that we've built the programming so that you can do more advanced use cases. So we do provide these streaming controls. I'll be demonstrating that today. There's two types of channels. We call them channels with MYLAPS. The one is what we call the live stream, and that's going to be where you're going to get your gunshot markers. I'll be demonstrating that today. Your live passings as they actually happen as people are passing pieces of equipment. If at any time you need to replay, right on your stream, you have a replay button that will reach out. Again, based upon that active period that Tim was talking about, it's only going to pull things that are based on the active period, but we'll go and pull all the passings and gunshot markers that are during that active period for that timeline and replay that into RaceDay scoring. So if for some reason you feel like you might have missed something or you just want to replay it, you can do that. But again, based on our testing, this has been really rock solid. MYLAPS has done a really great job. You know, in terms of making this all work, you don't do anything. You just set up your streams. You don't need to go somewhere else to go connect up to MYLAPS Cloud. You just start the connector and it all just starts to work. another note here, we made a decision on this integration that when you start the connector, when we connect to those timelines, we are going to go ahead and do a rewind at that point and pull back any passings that are active for that timeline, and again, that active period. So if for some reason you're getting everything set up in the morning, this race starts off, you got your start going, and you realize, you just forgot to start the connector, you haven't gotten things going on RaceDay scoring, frantic moment, no problem, don't worry about it, start the connector. We're going to get those passings from that start line in, and you don't need to worry about doing the rewind. So Tim mentioned, again, during the beta period, it was very important to do parallel. Being able to have timing and scoring set up in parallel with cloud. And that was actually one of the things we found week one. We didn't quite have that set up right, and we worked that out really quickly. So it's definitely possible to do with RaceDay scoring. You can have a start stream set up to timing and scoring for those locations and timing and scoring, and then you can have a start stream set up to MYLAPS timeline for start. Right now we have a caveat on that. It's just a part of the way our system was built, is you can't have two different streams in our system with the same, what we call them location names. So a location name would be a location name out of timing and scoring, and the location name is what they call the timeline name in cloud. And so right now, like, you couldn't have cloud timeline name start and then timing and scoring location name start. It's something that we're researching right now to see if we can get that fixed here pretty quickly, and so we're working on that. But just a caveat right now, if you're playing around with this, just name your timelines with some kind of suffix like start cloud, and then everything is going to work great for you, and it'll just differentiate the streams for us and RaceDay scoring. So I'm going to jump out at this point and just do some demonstration and talk through some more advanced stuff in terms of the integration. Okay, so we have RaceDay scoring, which you guys are all well aware of. You've got the streams. So again, just remember that global setting for your, let me get this out of the way. Okay, so if you haven't ever used this before, it's kind of a default. You can set this up for the type of chip system that you primarily use. And then you can have that default setting set for that, and you can actually switch that and have it saved for different things. But yeah, definitely want to put your API key in there. And if you do that, when you come to add the stream, like I said, and you come to bring in cloud timing, then we'll just kind of default that in for you and bring everything in. For right now, as Tim said, we're going through kind of this migration evolution from what we call our beta into like production release. We decided to make the default right now all the events. We will be switching this probably middle of the spring or something to just default this to active future, and that'll be your default. But for right now, if you just want to, if you're a timer that's doing a ton of MYLAPS stuff and you want to just kind of focus on active future, then that'll just kind of do that link, and then the past will just bring in the past events if you need to see that. So yeah, we kind of collapsed their concept of active and future as two different things. We thought for timers setting up things for that weekend, that would be more important to kind of default in both what's currently active and also what's coming up, so you can kind of set up your streams. So once you set that up, then it's just a matter of mapping. So you're mapping your timelines to a stream, and you're setting up your different streams, and then for those streams, you're going to set them up to locations. So I've got this set up here. So as we were talking about, I have a start stream, and I've set that to the timeline start, and I've set it to my timing location start here. Again, I could have set this particular stream to multiple locations if I needed to, okay? And then, but again, it is a one-to-one mapping. I want to make sure I make that clear. In terms of our streams are one-to-one with a timeline at MYLAPS. And again, you can have multiple pieces of equipment tied to a timeline at MYLAPS. Okay. And again, that's just kind of the mapping that we see here. So it's pretty straightforward. I've got things kind of set up. You're going to get your standard indicator when we're online. I have my connector running, and then these indicators will indicate whether or not we have an active WebSocket channel, live subscribe channel open. If you don't have that, there'll be some errors or something to look at. Something's happening in terms of either your API key or your connectivity to the cloud. And as Tim said, this is cloud for today. They are looking at different solutions for doing offline things with a local kind of cloud version of their interface, and then our software would be able to talk to that directly. But right now, everything is kind of more cloud-based for the implementation that we have. So the other thing to kind of demonstrate here, so I don't have anything, I'm going to just go ahead and hit a gunshot marker. I have, again, MYLAPS was very kind to give us a pro chip device from their Atlanta office, and so we've been doing live testing in our development. This isn't just relying on our timers to do work with us and just kind of playing around with things and making sure everything's looking good in the data. So go ahead and hit the gunshot there. Should be able to get it in. Okay, so I just got a gunshot read at 9:41, so that's good, and that's going to get mapped through. Again, as you know, with your timing location, you just set up that mapping for your starts. I don't have that example set up today, and then those are going to map through to your scored event and actually set your scored event on that. So that's just all worked out and working well. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and just pass some chip across here, show live passing. Okay, so we're getting reads in. It's pretty fast, so again, it's pretty quickly as I kind of do that, you're going to see that read kind of come across. Yeah, so it's all, you know, when we were doing that load test, again, the data just comes in very fast. I think I'm not really seeing much of a big difference between timing scoring and this. And as Tim outlined, it's very important to think about that. You know, he talked about the data quality and the redundancy. You know, now with the cloud, you know, there's things that they're doing with the data to make sure that it's secure, you have it, you're not ever going to lose it. And then also just, you know, we're going to talk about time zone in a minute in terms of just kind of maybe even dealing with some time zone issues and stuff. So definitely some advancements in terms of data reliability and security and having it in the cloud. Okay, so that's the kind of the live view of the reads coming in. And then, as we said, if for some reason I started this event, I was just like, oh, you know, I forgot to do the you know, I started the connector. Like I said, I got all the reads, but for some reason, I just want to replay my channel. I can do that here. Maybe I cleared things out. Maybe I didn't have things set up right, and I just feel like, you know, I want to clear all my reads out, and I just want to replay. Like we all know as timers, things like that happen. Just know that you can definitely do that. Just feel like you didn't have the setup right and everything. Still, you're connected to the cloud. You don't have to stop your connection to the cloud. You can just come in and just, you know, replay your streams and all that data that's, you know, is correct in the cloud. It's all got the right time zones and everything's right. It can just be replayed into your scoring, and you know, you can have, you know, your fix of the scoring, and then just get that data to replay back in. So the replay action is going to be on the streams, and again, as it says, this is a rewind for historic passings and markings from the cloud. And as I said, when we start the connector, we'll actually do that for you, so you don't need to do that on starting the connector. The other thing I wanted to kind of mention, so we talked about the gunshot, we talked about live, we talked about this stuff, but I want to talk about time zone for a second, and Tim can interject some on this also. So one thing to understand about everything that's going from your equipment up to the cloud is that everything in the cloud is going to be stored in what we call GMT time. That's basically Greenwich Minute time. So it's zero-based time, no time zone. And everything is going to be stored in the cloud based on that. What that means is that software like RaceDay scoring and everything, we are going to be interpreting that stuff based upon time zones. And so the time zone is going to be very important, and it actually comes down from your event. So we actually can reach out and understand like what you've got set up. And we're going to show that to you here. So this is a very important setting as you set up in the cloud. Make sure that you know, you understand the time zone aspects of this as you go into cloud, especially for those timers that may be working across multiple time zones. So the data is going to be stored in GMT. We will demonstrate and show to you as we get that event down what we think the time zone is, and that should be matching the time zone that you set up. And then we'll interpret all the data. So in this case, I was looking at this stuff. I had to, you know, let me clear this again. Let's just see if this is working right. So I'm in Eastern Standard Time here. I passing through. Okay, and so we should be seeing everything kind of at 9:45. That looks good. Everything's looking correct. 12:03. Okay. So the only caveat on this, and I'll have Tim kind of inject, and I'm kind of surprising probably at this moment, but it's all good. We're figuring together questions. So kind of an advanced thing to talk about is, again, they're getting the data from the device, and they're kind of relying on GPS, and I'll pull up the screen here, or what they call the network time protocol to figure out, you know, like what time zone that data is coming in and interpret that. And then Tim, what is the fallback? Is it this setting here where if for some reason, can you explain that again? There's like sometimes when you actually fix up the data, and is it when we don't have either NTP or GPS, then you'll use this?
The time zone that you see there is more the display time zone on the device itself. But in the end, it doesn't matter because the device will send us a passing and we will store it in UTC. So everything will be stored in UTC. And yeah, everything will be just a translation based on that. But yeah, basically what you cannot mess around anymore that much with messing up different time zones on your different devices that you use, because it doesn't matter. Everything is stored in basically back to UTC in the cloud, and we do a recalculation here in our dashboard. But basically, what is stored is UTC, and this is more about display. What do you see? What do you want to see? Yeah.
And that's the same thing for us. As we pull the passings down, we have to translate that into what we would consider the race time event time zone so that we can actually do our processing. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of my demo. We're going to kind of jump back to the presentation here. A couple kind of housekeeping things to talk about, and then we'll get into questions. So most importantly, we want to, again, invite our timers and timer community to a very different education forum that we're going to do in January. It's going to be in Tampa. If you've gone to the latest kind of summer thing we had, and then the timer tour last January, this is going to be very different. It's a day and a half of really in-depth training on our products, and it's 2 tracks this time. So it's an introductory track and an advanced track, and it's also going to have a demo kind of room all set up with all the equipment and everything. And we're going to try to spend really quality time with our timers, kind of diving into some more advanced topics that we've set up, and agenda and things that we planned. So definitely, if you're a timer that has new staff that you're trying to train up, this would be a great opportunity for them to get certifications. In the different tracks, we will have our certifications, and they'll be able to do that. So it's an opportunity for you to get less timers trained up, and then also more advanced training for you more seasoned timers when you really want to get maybe into display technologies, or you want to really understand some more advanced scoring things. We're going to really have a great curriculum there for you. And, again, we'll have the MYLAPS stuff there with all the equipment. So as you come to January and you haven't quite made the thing, or you have more questions about this, we'll have all the stuff live set up with equipment, and we can actually spend time with you on your events and help you understand the stuff a little bit more and play around with the stuff. So again, it'll be very in-depth in our training there. So you have to sign up, bring your staff. We really hope to see you there. So I'm going to turn it over at this point to see any questions. So this is an opportunity to ask Tim from the Netherlands any questions you have about their roadmap for cloud, and then also our integration with it. Anything you guys want to throw out there. Really invite some great questions at this point.
So we got one, might be more of a process question that you'd answer with the onboarding, Tim. But John Haynes is asking, are the decoders required to be on CCNet to utilize MYLAPS Cloud?
No, CCNet is what we used for timing and scoring. But what you can now do with all the latest firmware updates that have been released last year, cloud timing is there, but it's under a maintenance code. So if you want to put it on, you just need to enter that maintenance code, and from that moment on, it will do the 2-path way that I tried to explain. It will do CCNet and timing and scoring on one hand, and the cloud on the other hand. So a passing is going through 2 streams, basically.
So during our beta, Tim at one point said, and again, I'm not speaking out of turn here, I hope to say, but one of the real benefits of cloud is that at times there's been problems with CCNet, and I think some of your timers could probably attest to that. And so now you truly have a system that you can rely on that maybe when there were some issues there. And so definitely a benefit to have that as a completely separate channel.
Another question came in for MYLAPS. Is there an option or plan for display windows on site at an event?
You mean the remote screen that we used to have in timing and scoring, I guess?
Yeah.
It's not in our. It's not what I want to aim for. What I want to aim is that you can see all things on the device live, I already showed that a little bit with the settings, and we're expanding that to also status information and graphs. But it won't be a remote screen as you're used to, but you will see all information on the device itself.
He's talking, I guess, about like in timing and scoring, there's like an announcer feed that you can enable that will show participant data alongside the chip read data as soon as it is encountered.
Sorry, once again?
It's like the exporter that could show a scrolling leaderboard of participant information with the chip data.
You mean if we have that right now?
In cloud timing, if there's a plan to put that into cloud.
I think that will be more end up in the cloud scoring solution. That's where we go more about displaying data and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And that was on your roadmap for some point in the future, but not right. Yep.
Also there we're working on a cloud scoring solution, and we will do basically the same thing as we did with cloud timing. We're working on that, developing that, testing that. And somewhere this year we will also release a MVP also for cloud scoring, which is again a small start, which will grow just like we did with cloud timing, but then for the scoring functionalities. Yeah.
And again, for our RaceDay scoring timers now, you do have a solution for that. So just set up the stream to the cloud, and then just set up your announcer window. And so as those people are coming through the expo and you're just doing that chip read, and you can definitely have that same kind of thing with just that one location going to an announcer window. And you can definitely do that today with RaceDay scoring.
And of course, you can see all passings live coming in the passing overview that I showed. Yeah. It's not linked to athlete data, for example, because we don't cover that in cloud time.
No other questions yet. If anyone else does have any questions, feel free to chime in. Use the questions panel.
So as we're waiting for any remaining questions, let's talk about onboarding for a minute. So again, we think December, January was a great time for you to start learning about this technology from MYLAPS. The process that we've set up is just send an email into RaceDay@RunSignup.com, the email that's right there. Say you want to onboard with MYLAPS Cloud, and Avery will send you some documentation and kind of get you hooked up with Tim in the process, and that'll be the way that we move forward. So we've prepared some documents and different things. It's pretty straightforward, and we'll be able to share that with you, and then also give you the contacts that you need to give feedback to Tim as we go through the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, and again, happy to onboard any of you, because I think it's really nice to be engaged in this product and to be engaged in our development process and have some influence on that. I guess that's a good opportunity.
Okay. Well, again, this is recorded. It'll be available for review later. Hopefully, we've given you a pretty good overview and detail on how this stuff works, and giving you a good start to start working with it. Again, really thanks so much, Tim, for being part of our special edition of Timer Tip Tuesday today. It's been a great partnership. I'm really looking forward to working with you as you get that new local version out, and we'll kind of work with you on that too, and just make all this stuff happen over the next year. So really excited about this program, and thanks for partnering with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and it was nice.
Great. Okay, anything else, Avery? Are we done?
Just had one final question.
Good.
From Jeff Sparks. I currently use broadband modems for my remote split decoders to connect to CCNet. Would the cloud timing be similar?
I would assume, but I'm not that into modems, to be honest. But I would say so. Yeah.
I mean, as long as the devices themselves are getting internet access, I don't think the hardware cares how it's done. So.
No, basically, an internet connection should be enough, as far as I'm. So yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any kind of restriction about specific SIM cards, for example.
I'm not an internet specialist in that case, but yeah.
The main thing will be the ports. Again, they're using standard ports for their connectivity. So as long as these modems aren't doing anything crazy in terms of locking down inbound and outbound connections based on ports, you'll be fine. And again, we're using kind of standard WebSocket ports and HTTP and HTTPS ports for all this talking to the cloud.
I think that's it.
Great. Thanks again, Tim. You have a great Christmas and good holiday, and we'll talk to you in the new year. At the again, the MYLAPS conference is going to be in Atlanta this year, is what we've been told, and so hope to see some of the timers there. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.